Hi, I'm Jarak Daw. I'm here to discuss about Presidential Decree 1594, Section 5 and 6, IB4, IB10 to IB10.5. Later on, we will know about its implementing rules and regulation. First is Section 5, Award and Contract. The contract may be awarded to the lowest pre-qualified bidder whose bid in a evaluated complies with all the terms and conditions in the call of bid is the most advantageous to the government. To guarantee the faithful performance of the contractor, he shall prior to the award post of performance bond in the amount of established in accordance with the rules and regulation to be propagated under Section 12 of this decree. All awards and contracts duly accordance with the provision of decree shall be subject the approval of the Ministry of Public Works of Transportation and Communication, the Ministry of Public Highways, or the Ministry of Energy as case may be. IV4, issuance of qualification statement or forms. The work or design procurement unit shall provide prospective bidders with the notice for pre-qualification or eligibility screening to contain, among the others, of following information to guide them in evaluating their capabilities and decide whether or not to participate in the bidding of a specific contract. A is the name and location of the project. B is the project of background and other relevant information regarding the proposed work, including a brief technical description of the work as a size, type, major item, and other important feature of the work. C, a rough budget for the contract to the bid in the source of bidding. Letter D is the criteria to be used by the office, agency, corporation, and the pre-qualification of eligibility screening to the contractors. And 2 is the evaluation of bid. And 3 is the post-qualification of the lowest calculated bid. Letter E is the cost and place issuance of eligibility forms and bid tender documents. So, next is the date, time, and place of submission of accomplished eligibility forms, pre-bid conference, submission of bid, opening of bid. The number 2 is pre-qualification of eligibility statement shall be required by the contracting government, office, agency, or corporation for every contract. In which the contract intends to bid and shall be submitted not later than the deadline set in the published invitation to pre-qualify or apply for eligibility and the bid, after which date of application for pre-qualification or eligibility shall be submitted and received. The following documents shall be compressed and pre-qualification and eligibility statement to be submitted by the contractor, which shall be consists of the following documents which embody the non-discriminationality, pass-fail, and criteria for the pre-qualification or eligibility for the contract to be bid, which shall be under weighty or duly authorized. What A is a legal document, B technical documents, and C financial documents. And in legal documents, one is a contractor's valid public license for the type of cost of the contract to be bid. Two is valid joint venture agreement in the case of joint venture. Three is letter authorizing the head of office or agency or corporation to duly authorized representative to verify any of all these documents submitted for eligibility screening. Lastly, statement that this firm is not included in the blacklist or contractors issued by the Construction Industry Authority of the Philippines or CIAP. So, B is technical documents. So in technical documents, statement of all government and private construction contracts completed in the last 3 years as specified in the notice for pre-qualification or eligibility screening, which are similar in the nature of complexity to the contract to be bid, or similar contract shall be defined by the concerned office, agency, or corporation. In the notice for pre-qualification or eligibility screening, the contractor's statement shall be included for each contract. The name of the contract owner's name and address, nature of the work, contracts, rules are contractors, subcontractor, or partner in the joint venture, or total contract value of completion, date and award, and date of completion and contract of duration. So the statement shall be supported by the contractor's performance evaluation system or CPES, rating sheets, and other certificates of completion and owner's acceptance. So the value of the contractor's largest single contract is scaled and present price completed within the period of specified in the notice for pre-qualification or eligibility screening, and the similar of the contract to be bid must be in the less of 50% of the approved of budget for the contract to be bid. So the second is the statement of all ongoing government and private construction contracts, including contracts awarded to but not yet started. This shall be included for each contract the name of the contract, owner's name and address, nature of the work, contractor's rules, total contract value of award, date of award, and percentages of the plan of actual accomplishments, value of the outstanding works, and estimated completion time. The statement shall be supported by the notice of award or notice for proceed by the owners. So the number three is that the statement that contract has key personally such as project manager, project engineer, materials engineer, and foreman that may be used for construction contracts. So lastly is a statement that the contract owns and or has under lip and or has under the purchase agreement equipment that may be used for construction contract. So lastly is the financial documents. So audited financial statement stamp received by the Bureau of Internal Revenue for less than past 3 calendar years, showing among others the contractor's total current assets of liabilities. So the contract's net financial contract capacity or NFCC based on the net working capital or, or current asset less of current liabilities must be less equal to the approved budget for the contract to be bid or calculated as follows. So NFCC or current asset minus current liabilities minus the value of all outstanding works under the ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts yet to be started. So K equals to 10 for a contract duration of 1 year or less at 15 a contract duration or more than 1 year up to 2 years, and 20 for a contract duration of more than 2 years. So next is section 6, assignment and subcontract. So the contractor shall not assign, transfer, pledge, subcontract, or make any other disposition of the contract of any of interest therein except with the approval of Ministry of Public Works, Transportation and Communication, the Ministry of Public Highways, or the Ministry of Energy. As the case may be, the approval of the subcontract shall not be relieve the main contractor from any liability or obligation under his contract with the government, nor shall it create any contractual relation between subcontractor and government. So the approval of the subcontract does not absolve the primary contractor any liability or obligation arising from his contract with the government, nor does it establish contractual relationship between the subcontract and the government. So next is AB10 bid or tender and award. So in AB 10.1, preparation of bids and bid book bonds with and pre-qualification or eligibility statement. So one is bid shall be prepared. So on the proposal book from the accordance with the instructions to bidders. So it will be prepared. And two is the original copy of the bid shall be accompanied by the bid security in the amount of equivalent to the percentage in the accordance with the schedule given below of the approved budget from the contract to the bid, as published or advertised by the concerned agency, in the form of the cash, certified check, manager check, or bank, draft guarantee confirmed by the local bank against by the reputable bank, and letter of credit issued by the commercial bank by surety bond, callable and demand issued by the surety insurance company, duly accredited, accredited by the Office of the Assurance of Commission or any combination thereof as may be required by the head of office or agency corporation concerned, payable to the office or agency or corporation as a guarantee that is successful bidder shall within 30 calendar days or less at the declaration of head office or agency concerned from the receipt of the attest of award. So enter the contract with the government and punish by performance security for the faithful and complete pre-execution of the works specified in the contract documents. So the schedule of the amounts of the bid securities are as follows. So one is a cash manager check, cashier check, a revolving letter of credit or bank draft. So 1% of the approved budget for the contract to be bid as a published advertised by the concerned agency. So B is the bank guarantee. 1.5% or of the approved budget for the contract to be bid as a published or advertised by the concerned agency. And 3 is surety bond. So 2.5% of the approved budget for the contract to be bid as a published or advertised by the concerned agency. Bids and bid security shall be valid for the reasonable period of to be determined by the head of office of agency or corporation concerned as indicate in the construction to be bidders, but no case later than 120 calendar days following the opening of the bid. So lastly, no bid security submitted by any eligible bidders. So by any eligible bidder shall be returned after the opening of bid, except by those that failed to comply with any of requirements to be submitted in the first envelope of the bid as in any period after provided. So bid security shall be returned only after the successful bidder has signed the contract of furnish performance security, but any case not later than the expiration of the bid security validity period indicated in the instruction of the bidders. So next is IB 10.2 or submission of openings and obstructing of bids and tenders. So one is bids in the prescribed bid from including its annexes of specified under section IB 10.8. It shall be submitted with two sealed envelopes with the name of the contracts. So to be bid in the name of the bidders in the capital letters address in the back or designated pronouncement unit of the office of the agency or corporation concerned. This shall be marked by the bidders or do not open before date and time of opening of the bids. So 2 is the first envelope shall be contained of the following information, documents. So A is authority of the signing official. B is construction schedule and S-curve. C is construction methods. D is organization chart for the contracted to be bid. So letter E is list of contractors personally to be assigned to the contract to be bid with their complete qualification and experience data. Letter F is a person power schedule. G is a list of contractors equipment units owned and owned or under the lease of or under the purchase agreements or supported by the duly executed contract, therefore ended for use exclusively in the contract to be bid. So H is equipment utilization schedule. I is a certificate of site inspection. J is bid security. K is a certification that detailed estimates cash flow by the quarter and payments schedule are in the second envelope. L is a commitment from the contractor's bank extended him to credit line of awarded the contract to be bid or the cash deposit certificate in the amount of fixed by the office of agency in the construction to be bid, which shall be less equal to the operation of cash flow or average to the expenses of the approved budget for the contract to be bid. So M is a construction safety and health program by the contractors based on the section 1 to 3.0, therefore of the required by the Department of Labor and Employment or DOLE occupational safety and health standards. So lastly is N is other non-discriminatory criteria of stated in these instructions to be bidders. So the first envelope shall be opened in public to determine the contractor compliant that with the above of document required to be submitted in the first envelope for the purpose of checklist of the required document shall be made in the submitted document shall be checked against checklist to ascertain if they all present in the first envelope. In case envelope that the bank or designated procurement unit shall disqualify and concern constructor outright and able to return to him the second envelope unopened. So 3 is the second envelope should be contained with the following information document. So A is bid price and the bill of quantities. B is detailed estimate including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals used in the coming up with the bid. So letter C is a cash flow by the quarter and payment schedule. So the envelope should be opened in public immediately after the opening of the first envelope, but for the contractors that complied with the requirements stated in section IB 10.2 2.2 above. So number 4 is bid shall be received on the before a designated time and date. So to be eligible for consideration, bids may be withdrawn only in the right 5 working days before the deadline of submission of bid. So 5 is bid shall be opened in the place, date, times specified in the advertisement by the bank or designated procurement unit. So attaching therefore, so the bidders of their duly authorized representative may be attend of meaning of bids. Every page of the original copies of the bids received the read must be initiated by the members of the bank or designated procurement unit in the authorized representative. So number 6 is bid with the submitted bid price that are higher than the approved of the budget. So for the contract under the bidding shall be rejected outright. So number 7 is bid with submitted bid prices that higher than the approved budget. So all the bids received the open responding the abstract of bid shall be prepared and abstract bid shall be signed by the members of BAC or designated procurement unit, attaching therefore all the bids with corresponding bid securities and these minutes of proceeding of biddings. So the abstract of the bids contain the following. So 1A is name of the project and its location. B is time and place of bidding. And C and lastly, name of the bidders and the corresponding bid arrangement from the lowest to the highest, showing their respective variance in the percent of the approved budget from the contract to the bid, and the amount of security name of the issuing entry. So, next is 10.3, determination of the lowest calculated responded bid. So, one is the BAC or the procurement unit shall be determined the lowest calculated response bid. So, which the bid with the lowest price are calculated based on the prohibition of the 10.3, 10.4. Therefore, the B which complies with the responsible to all the requirements in the IB 10.5. Therefore, the second is the lowest calculated response bid shall be therefore will be determined into two steps. So one step and the first step is the detailed evaluation of the all bids. So to establish the correct calculated price of the bid according to the requirements of the clause 10.4 therefore and the determination of the order of ranking of the total bid prices as calculated from the lowest, otherwise known as the lowest calculated bid, to the highest. So the second step is the post qualification of the bidders, which is the lowest calculated bid. With the lowest calculated bid, based of the result of the above evaluation, this shall be done in the accordance with the provision of clause of 10.5. So next is IB 10.4 or digital evaluation of bid. So one is as the first step of determine the lowest calculated response bid. So the BAC or designated procurement unit shall within 7 days from the date of opening of the bids conduct a detailed evaluation of the bid using non-discretionary criteria stated in the notice of pre-qualification or eligibility screening and the structure of bidders, which shall be included to the following. So A is bid security. The bid security must conform the requirements of the instructions to be bidder as the type of amount from the word. So wording and validity period. So B is complementance of the bid. So unless the construction to be bidders especially allow the partial bid, the bids not offering all the required items shall be considered non-responsive and those automatically disqualified. So letter C is the major deviations. So the major deviations from the instructions to be bidders and bidding requirements shall be bias for the rejection of bids. Major deviation are these that if accepted will not fulfill the forecast for the which the bid requested as would prevent a fair comparison with the bids that comply with the bidding document. Example are: 1 is stipulating price adjustment with the fixed price bids were called for. 2 is pulling the response of the specification by offering a different design of work item. Number 3 is subcontracting beyond all other allowable limits. So 4 is refusing for mere contractual responsibilities specified in the binding documents such as performance of guarantees. And lastly, 5 is taking exceptions of critical provision of settings condition to speed, such as applicable laws, taxes, and duties and dispute resolution procedures. So letter D is correction for errors, discount, and other modification. So correction for athetical or computational errors such as well as the discrepancy between total bid prices, extended unit bid prices, between stated total prices and actual summation between price and figures as the word and others. Errors and discrepancies shall be made using the methodology described in the instruction to be bidders. So discount and other modification in the bid account shall be reflected in the evaluation of bid in the accordance with the methodology stated in the instruction to be bidders. So letter E is the approved budget for the contract under bidding. As approved by the Office of Agency or Corporation is stated in the instruction of bidders, the approved of budget for the contract under the bidding shall be selling for the acceptable bids. Therefore, all the bids of evaluated in the calculated or accordance with the above provision which are higher than the approved budget for the contract under the bidding shall be automatically be disqualified. So based on the dictated evaluation of the bid, those that comply with the above mentioned requirements shall be ranked in the ascending order or the total calculated bid prices as the evaluated corrected for the errors and discounts and other modification. So number 2 is at the time of opening of the bids there shall be less 2 competing bidders. So in the case there are only one bidder, the BAC or designated procurement unit as the option to or either. So A is open the bid, second develop or subsequently consider the loan bid of award. Provide the complies and requirements of section 1 IB 10.2 to her for and provided further dates not exceed or approved budget for the contract under bidding. Or B. Return to the second envelope to the loan bidder unopened and conduct a bidding through sealed compass of the last 5 qualified contractors within 15 days from the date of the field opening of the bids. However, the contracts to the bid costing 3 million and below. The number of qualified contracts to be invited by the reduced to less 3 prospective bidders shall not be limited to the provisionally pre-qualified or found eligible for the contract to be bid, with the loan complying bidder automatically participating. So the bidders to be invited shall be undergo and pass the same pre-qualification or eligibility criteria as specified in IB 43 and IB 6. So number 3, if other undertaking the above process there is failure to be awarded to the contract within the limits prescribed under the section IB 10.6 1 and 1 to 1. So therefore, contract we advertise anew for bidding after the procedures prescribed under the section IB 10.6.1 as failed to come up with the lowest calculated response bid. So lastly, number 4 is the respective box or designated procurement units for concerned government office or agency or corporation. So should normally complete the evaluation of the bids not later than 30 calendar of days from the date of the opening of the bids. So lastly is 1B 10.5. So post qualification of contractors with the lowest calculated bid. So as the second step to determine the lowest calculated response bid, the BOC or designated procurement unit shall within 30 days from the completion of the first step. So conduct a post-qualification of the bidders with the lowest calculated bid. The post-qualification shall verify and ascertain whether the bidders with the lowest calculated bid complies with or not responsive to all the requirements of the contract under bidding as started in IB4, IB6, IB 10.2, and it's the construction to the bidders using the non-discriminatory pass or fail criteria or the requirements started in the construction of bidders. The BAC or the designated procurement unit shall be also verified, ascertained, and evaluated the pre-qualification or eligibility statement of the lowest calculated bidders to be correct. So, relevant and adequate to the comply according to the following criteria. So, A is a legal requirement as provided in IB 4.3A. So, B is technical requirements. So, 1. The contractor stated that experience may be verified and validated by the BAC or designated procurement unit of correct, relevant, and adequate to the comply with the following. So, A is the value of the single largest contract escalated to the present prices, completed with the period specified in the notice for pre-qualification, eligibility screening, and similar to the contract under the bidding, and must be at least 50% of the approval budget for the contract under the bidding and contractors rating sheet and our certificate of satisfactory completion and acceptance issued by the owner must be verified. So B is the contractor. Contractor must meet the specific minimum experience requirements in the instructions to the bidders for particular major operation of the contract under the bidding, such as having done the minimum annual volume of earth moving, underground excavation, or placing the concrete the back of designated procurement unit shall be have the authority to make appropriate inquiries with the contractor's previous client and conduct check on his past contracts. So number 2 is the experience of the contractor's key personally must be verified by the BAC or designated procurement unit to the correct, relevant, and adequate to comply with the requirements specified in the constructions and bidders in terms of the following. So A is the total experience in years, B is the total experience of proposed position, C is the value of the single largest managed supervised contract similar to the contract under bidding and escalated to the present prices, which must be at least equal to 50% of the approved budget for the contract under bidding. So the BAC or designated procurement unit shall make appropriate inquiries with presently previous employees and client conduct check their past contracts. So number 3 is the equipment units listed by the contract must be verified by the BAC or designated procurement unit to be owned and under the lease and or under the forecase agreement by him, as supported by the documented proofs of ownership or lease and forecase agreement. The unit equipment must be in full working condition, adequate as the number of capacities compared in the minimum requirements specified by the office or agency or corporation in the instruction to be bidders and considering other known commitments shall be able to use the contract under the bidding. The BAC or designated procurement unit shall have the authority to undertake an annual physical inspection of the equipment unit and make appropriate inquiries and check with the equipment lessor and suppliers concerned. So number 4 is the BAC or designated procurement shall not check the performance of the contractor in his ongoing government's private contract, and if there is a reported negative slippage or more than 15% of their substandard quality of the work as per contract plans and specification of their unsatisfactory performance of his obligation as per terms and condition under any ongoing contract, and if the BAC or designated procurement. So the unit verify any deficiency to be due to the contract's fault or eligible to office or agency or corporation should be disqualify the contract from the award. So lastly, the financial requirements. So one is the contract stated net working capital must be verified by the BAC or designated procurement unit to be correct, up to date and unencumbered. So the number 2 is the value of the all outstanding unfinished work under the ongoing contract yet to be started must be verified by the BAC or designated procurement unit to be correct and up to the date. The BAC or designated procurement unit shall make appropriate inquiries of the contractor's client and employees and conduct check on their and the contracts. So number 3 is the contract net financial contracting capacity or NFCC as computed using the formula under the IB423C shall be reviewed and updated by the BAC of designated procurement unit ensure that it's the less equal to the contractor's total bid. So as evaluated and calculated from the contract under bidding. So number 4 is the credit line commitment from the contractor's bank must be verified by the BAC or designated procurement unit to be valid, adequate, and exclusively dedicated to the contract under bidding. So to sustain its operating cash flow requirements as specified in the instructions to the bidders, the average operating expenses for 2 months of the contract under the bidding of 10% of the approved budget to the contract under bidding, whichever is less. The BAC or the designated procurement unit shall make the appropriate inquiries with the contractor's bank. So, if the bidders pass all the above criteria, he shall be considered the post-qualified. If the bidders fails if any of the above criteria, he shall be considered post-disqualified. So, that's all. Thank you.